I thank the gentleman for yielding, and I thank him for his discussion of this legislation on the floor. And I rise in opposition to this legislation because I don't believe that we can afford to spend $100 million on a program that, in fact, in spite of what has been said on the other side, has been proven time and again to be ineffective and inefficient. Supporting our students, especially in poor and minority communities, is the right thing to do, and particularly in this economy, it's absolutely essential. But that is not what this bill does. If you really care about school reform, you'll want to help our students, our future. You do it in a sustainable and systematic way. You can't arbitrarily throw money at a small group of students and just hope against overwhelming evidence that your ideology somehow will work this time. You can't decide that only a handful of students deserve special attention. You can't ask Congress to vote for programs that the citizens of DC and the elected officials and the mayor have not asked for. You certainly can't decide to continue a program that does not help students succeed. There are a number of concerns about this bill. First and most importantly, the program does not help the students succeed. Just 2 weeks ago, the Republicans made harmful cuts in proven programs based upon purported standards of inefficiency, seeking to get rid of inefficient programs. If this is a standard, the DC voucher program fails the test. The DC voucher program does not increase student achievement or graduate students so they are prepared to go to college or careers. In fact, 4 Department of Education studies over both administrations found that the voucher program has had no effect on the academic achievement of the voucher students. These findings are consistent with other private school voucher programs in Milwaukee and Cleveland. Just yesterday, the state test results show that voucher students in Milwaukee's 20-year voucher program are actually performing similar or worse than other poor Milwaukee students. The study mandated by Congress about the DC voucher program says that very clearly that the use of vouchers had no statistical significant impact on the overall student achievement in math or reading. So what is the purpose of the expenditure of this money other than to prop up an inefficient, an ineffective, ideological point of view about how these students might learn? These students are not going to the schools that will change the outcomes. These students are not graduating with the set of skills that will allow them to succeed in college or career. But the fact of the matter is, there are many public schools in the District of Columbia that are in fact achieving those goals, that are working for those parents, for those students. District of Columbia has open choice. Parents can go wherever. But we've simply decided to take this federal dollars and put it into a program because on the belief that it works in spite of all of the evidence that it's not working for these students. So why are we paying a premium of another $100 million in taxpayers' money to pursue this effort when it's on its face, it's not working? Yes, you've done telephone surveys of parents, and they said, I think I made a good choice. Okay? You do telephone surveys of the students. Are you any safer? The answer is no.
I yield the gentleman an additional minute and a half.
Gentleman is recognized for a minute and a half.
You ask the students, and they say, no, we don't feel any safer. A great deal is made about the choice of these parents. It's to be honored and to be respected. What about the choice of the parents of Head Start students that made a choice to put their children into Head Start in an effective program that makes a difference when we leave that program on whether or not they are school ready, whether or not they're prepared to succeed at 4th grade and 8th grade and 10th grade, those critical points when a student decides to drop out of school. Those parents who are making a choice about effective education for their children, they get cut, 250,000 of them. But if you make an ineffective choice and it's consistent with an ideology, you get funded. That's just not the way we should do business here. And that's not the way to do business in terms of school reform. And that's not the way to help these children. And that's not the way to incentivize the other schools that are struggling to achieve better results, to achieve better success for their students. If you're going to say, we'll fund them, whether it's successful or not, we'll put $100 million into it because it comports with our view of the constellations. That's just the wrong way to proceed in this effort for these children and for other children who will follow them. I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman's time has expired.
The point of this amendment is if you're going to spend this money in violation of the rules and you're going to create additional deficit, you at least ought to spend it in something that's effective and that works for the children and improves their educational opportunity. Investing in the DC voucher program that has now run over a period of years by every study that has been done on it, says that these students are doing no better than when they left the school, but we're spending $100 million to educate them. They statistically are not any improved over the performance of the school that they left. But we continue to spend the money on the myth that somehow this is a model program that you would replicate all over the country. Why would you replicate a program that is so inefficient and does not provide an educational advantage for the students participating in it? I understand their parents who chose them to participate in the voucher program feel they made a good decision. But that's not a mark of whether or not they're getting the educational opportunity that they're entitled to. With Mr. Cummings' amendment, you can invest in what is working. You can invest in the public schools, where African American high school students have seen double-digit gains in reading and math. And the percentage of high school students who have achieved advanced status in reading and math is more than doubled. The percentage of special education students achieving proficient status has more than doubled. These schools, public and public charter schools, are working for the children of DC. But the Republicans would have you insist that what you really ought to do is take $100 billion in new deficit spending and park it in this voucher program because of their commitment on the ideological basis, but not on programs that work. We ought to choose the programs that work for the children of the District of Columbia.